The station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11. Streaming now.
Now at 11, record-breaking numbers of ballots have already been cast across central Indiana for the 2020 general election. But with increased participation in the election, not only through in-person voting, but also by mail, it's possible there won't be a clear winner in the race for president on election night. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker talks to an early voter who hopes that doesn't make people reconsider casting their ballot.
Ben Yoder is one of the thousands of people here in central Indiana who have voted early.
I think that making sure your voice is heard is important.
Ben and a group of his friends voted early over the weekend, and he tells me it's a good way to get people involved in one of our country's fundamental rights.
My group of friends decided to make a morning of it. I think spending time with your friends while you're waiting is a great way to pass the time, and then you can get your civic duty done and feel good about it.
In-person voter turnout has been high, and so too has the number of mail-in ballots that have been requested. That's led to headlines like this. People wondering if we'll know election results on the night of the election. All signs are pointing to no, and that's because of the different state laws regarding mail-in ballots, when they can be counted, and when they have to reach county election offices. Ben is hopeful that won't discourage people from voting.
Regardless of whether we know the results in the election night, the important thing is that you know that you were able to put your voice into the mix.
That's why he says it's good to figure out how you're going to vote so you can make sure your voice is heard in the November election.
Just plan ahead. Make sure that you realize that the lines may be a little bit longer, but that sticking it out is totally worth it.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
And here are some key dates ahead of Election Day. If you want to vote by mail, you must request your ballot by October 22nd, but you are encouraged to do so as soon as possible. And new tonight, a federal appeals court has sided with the state of Indiana on the deadline to receive absentee ballots. That means election officials must receive your ballot by noon on Election Day. And several organizations are working together on an effort to help make sure your vote counts. The group Protect the Vote is recruiting thousands of volunteers across the country to be on hand at polling sites to answer questions and even provide attorneys if a voter runs into trouble casting a ballot. Those volunteers are not poll watchers, which are usually affiliated with a particular candidate. Instead, they are called poll monitors and are nonpartisan.
It is even more incumbent on us, particularly wearing our nonpartisan hat, to make sure that the election runs smoothly, because we know that folks are going to be looking carefully.
It's about making sure that every voter gets their ballot counted and their voice heard in our democracy. And that's really something we can all come together on.
If you have a problem at the polls, Protect the Vote has set up a nationwide hotline staffed by attorneys with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. The numbers for different languages are on your screen right now. If you would like to volunteer as a poll monitor, go to protectthevote.net. And for more resources and information about voting in Central Indiana, go to the Vote in 2020 digital section of our website, WRTV.com. And now to the forecast. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now. Kevin, temperatures are a bit of a roller coaster this week.
Yeah, as I mentioned off top, can you believe that? 31 will be the coldest temperature over the next 7 days, and almost 80, which will occur tomorrow. Okay, then beautiful skyline this evening. Skies are clear across central Indiana. Those temperature 56 in Indy, 55 in Shelbyville, while it's 61 in Muncie. Headlines for tomorrow. The wind is going to kick up, but I think that'll be tomorrow evening and tomorrow night that the wind will be strongest. Plan on temperatures 10 degrees above our average high of 66. Comes with lots of sunshine. There's the wind. Gets strong tomorrow night, which means it will be mild all the way through tomorrow with temperatures well in the 70s. The roller coaster, remember that? So this is the high point. We'll talk about going downhill and some humps in the 7-day forecast coming up.
Law enforcement cannot resolve violence by itself. It is an incredibly important element to keeping the peace.
More money and more civilian oversight is on the way for the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. And city leaders are once again addressing historic and ongoing violence across the city. WRTV's Cameron Riddle is working for you, pushing elected officials for answers and solutions.
Who does the buck with crime in the city stop with? The buck stops with the community.
Yeah, I'd simply say that obviously the mayor is ultimately responsible, and that's why at the beginning of my term I made it clear that I need to listen, I need to act, and then I need to be held accountable.
This is not the first time you've seen a group of city leaders talking with reporters about their latest effort to combat crime. In fact, this gathering happens almost monthly. Reporters noted that today's announcement of new crime prevention grants is also not a new idea for Indy. We asked, what new ideas does the city have to stop the violence?
The ideas themselves may not be brand new, but we're doubling down. We will continue to add more IMPD officers in 2021. We will continue to expand our community-based beat-oriented policing.
When it comes to ending violent crime in Indianapolis, City County Council President Bob Ossoly said we need to take a look at the root causes of crime, including poverty, lack of jobs, and food deserts.
I think the question does need to come back to how did we get here and what are we going to do about it?
The root causes is also a phrase we've heard before. I again challenged Ossoly on a solution Indy could use tomorrow.
I've done. People are saying the same thing: systematic racism, food deserts. We've got that. What do we do about it now? We know where we are.
We deal with the trauma. As the chief said right now, we all have some level of awareness of those who are around us who are in pain. How do we identify that?
President Ossoly, Chief Taylor, and Mayor Hogsett are all in agreement. It's not just up to police or the tools they have or even city leaders to put a cap on violence. It's also up to the city residents as well.
Each and every one of us can do something to help prevent violence, to help separate neighbors who are not in agreement with one another. Each of us can do our part to make our community, our neighborhoods, our area of the city a little better. Now, I want to make it absolutely clear. The buck stops ultimately in terms of accountability with the mayor.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
And Metro Police are asking for help in a hit-and-run investigation that critically injured a cyclist. Police say an SUV hit a person riding a bicycle on Sherman Drive and Pleasant Run Parkway on the east side just after 9 o'clock Thursday morning. Tonight, investigators released surveillance pictures of the SUV. It is described as a gold or tan late 1990s to early 2000s model Chevy Tahoe or GMC Yukon. Police say the vehicle has some unique features. The wheels are aftermarket, the side mirrors are oversized, and the hood has a raised area in the center. Now to the latest on the pandemic. 3,595 deaths in Indiana are now blamed on COVID-19. 1,288 COVID patients were being treated in hospitals around the state as of yesterday, and 1,569 new positive cases were reported between Saturday and yesterday. And when it comes to overall positive cases by age in Indiana, the highest percentage is among 20 to 29-year-olds, 20.2%. Health experts say looking at the ages of those infected can help predict new hotspots. IUPUI's Fairbanks School of Public Health has been working with the state to collect data and to analyze the spread of COVID-19. According to researchers, 40% of people infected with COVID had no signs or symptoms. Those who are asymptomatic are often young and otherwise healthy, and they may not be following social distancing guidelines.
These spikes, there's nothing magical about this. I could predict this, in my sleep, if you will. When we get people together, less than 6 feet apart, not wearing face masks, and spending prolonged periods of time together, we're going to see cases. This is still an active pandemic.
Hotspot counties are defined as those that had more than 100 cases in the previous 7 days and had increases in cases in the preceding 3 to 7 days. Indiana is not alone when it comes to rising COVID cases. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports several states are reporting alarming increases as another vaccine trial faces a setback.
The number of new COVID-19 cases increasing in more than half the country, with hospitalizations up in 35 states, including Wisconsin. Health officials there urging residents to stay home as much as they can after another record number of daily deaths.
Here's the bottom line, folks. We have to get this virus under control and help flatten the curve.
This comes as phase 3 of an antibody COVID-19 treatment by drug maker Eli Lilly is put on pause for a potential safety concern. And as Johnson & Johnson becomes the latest drug maker to hit a setback in the race for a coronavirus vaccine. Its stage 3 trial paused after one of the participants developed an unexplained illness.
My expectation is that they're going to sort this out. And whether it's this vaccine or a different one, that we will have something approved for emergency use probably in November, maybe December.
President Trump addressing that and his own treatment for COVID-19 at his latest rally in Pennsylvania.
I'll tell you what, we have the vaccines are coming soon, the therapeutics, and frankly, the cure. All I know is I took something, whatever the hell it was, I felt good very quickly. I don't know what it was. Antibodies. I don't know. I took it. I said, I felt like Superman.
Messages like that concerning to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who says because the president is such a visible figure, it amplifies some of that misunderstanding that people have that it's a benign disease and nobody has anything to worry about. Wisconsin bar owner Mark Schultz knows the worry all too well, sharing his frustration with the president's handling of the virus that sickened him, posting this before being released from a hospital.
You got to lead by example. You just don't frickin' get it. It's sad. It's tragic. You're killing people.
Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Roe is not a super precedent because calls for its overruling have never ceased, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled.
Coming up, from Roe v. Wade to the possibility of a disputed presidential election, President Trump's Supreme Court nominee takes questions from lawmakers as confirmation hearings continue. And a business that has been in Broad Ripple since the 1950s is closing. You're watching WRTV News at 11.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Another neighborhood is losing its local grocery store. Kroger says it's closing the location in Broad Ripple within the next 30 days. The company says the store has not made a profit in several years. The closure will mark the end of a long era. The Broad Ripple Kroger opened in 1954.
So it's going to be a big loss to this community. I know the Kroger seem to be building these big superstores now, and there are a couple not too far from here, but this is going to be a big loss to the community.
It's disappointing they're going to close the store. I mean, it's a nice neighborhood market for me. I can just walk and get my groceries and things like that. This Kroger's been here for a really long time, so it's sad to see it go.
Kroger says nearly 40 associates work at the Broad Ripple store. They will be offered positions at other locations in Indianapolis. Kevin, today was a beautiful one after we got some much needed rain yesterday, but we do have some changes for the rest of the week as well.
Lots of changes. Yeah, kind of a fun 7-day forecast, and it really exemplifies Indiana weather at its best. Just wait 24 hours and you see a change. During the day Wednesday, our wind will increase tomorrow afternoon and I think peak tomorrow night. Temperatures, they'll zoom into the middle to upper 70s tomorrow. Scattered showers, that's an optimistic forecast for Thursday. We could say a few showers or a couple of showers. I don't think it's going to be a widespread rain event. Then on Friday, you'll feel the impact. Temperatures in the 50s for highs. You see the erosion of temperatures for the overnight hours as well. Thursday morning, mild, and then temperatures don't change much through the day. Friday and Saturday, looking at lows in the 30s. And I think it's Saturday morning that will be the coldest with a clear sky and light wind. That'll set the stage for some spots to fall below the freezing mark. 31 in Lafayette, otherwise right at 32 from Rockville on up toward Noblesville, Kokomo, Marion, and then low to mid 30s the rest of central Indiana. Now back to the warmth for a day. Wednesday forecast 64 by noon tomorrow. Afternoon temperature 76 in Indianapolis. I think there will be areas, especially west and southwest, that will reach 78 or so. The wind will be strongest, as I mentioned, tomorrow night. So let's pick up that timeline. There we are at 7 o'clock. Wind out of the west-southwest over 30 miles per hour. Notice the arrows changing direction, coming out of the northwest by mid-morning Thursday. That will send our temperatures falling. It won't be very dramatic, but we just don't get warmer through the day. When you leave the house Thursday morning, just realize that you want to take a jacket, because most of the day will be in the 50s with just a couple of showers. See the green pop up? That's along the front. Nothing impressive, and then slides away to the southeast. Forecast models hinting at just a few hundredths of an inch. 7-day forecast. Once temperatures cool off, that's Thursday. They stay quite cool throughout the entire 7-day forecast. If we look beyond our chance for showers Thursday, you have to go to next Monday and Tuesday for opportunities for the rain to return. At least they're there in the 7-day forecast. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin. Carmel firefighters will have a new home around this time next year. Today, the city broke ground on a new fire department headquarters. The building will also include a museum, administrative offices, and community event spaces. It's on Veterans Way near Rangeline Road and Main Street, the site of the first Carmel fire station.
In 1950, Carmel firefighters, it was an all-volunteer group. They were paid per run when they would actually respond in the community. Those volunteers actually pooled their money together, purchased the supplies and the materials that were needed to build the very first fire station in the city of Carmel. It was built on this location, so from our perspective, this is hallowed ground because this is really where the fire department started.
The new facility is expected to be complete by next fall. It's part of Clayton Township's $60 million park and public safety impact projects. A new Safe Haven baby box will be installed in Lebanon on Friday, and this comes about a week after someone left a newborn in a baby box at a fire station in Decatur Township. Today, the founder of those Safe Haven boxes shared a message for the mother who surrendered her child.
To the parent that surrendered this precious infant, I honor you today. I am thankful for your selflessness and love that you have shown your baby. You are a hero. I also want you to know that there are resources available for you through our organization. It can be medical care, it can be counseling, it can be supplies, it can be whatever you need.
Safe Haven Baby Box founder and CEO Monica Kelsey says this is the second newborn surrendered in Decatur Township and the 5th child surrendered in Indiana this year. The state's Safe Haven law allows a parent to bring a child who is 30 days old or younger to an employee at an emergency room, manned fire station, or law enforcement agency without facing prosecution for endangering or abandoning a child.
And it's not that these women don't love their babies. Right. This woman left a note with her child, and it's heartbreaking just to read it because she expressed how much she loved this child. And so, and thank the fire department for having this resource available for her. Mm-hmm. You know, so it is very important that the media, continue to educate on this law because prior to us, nobody was talking about it.
The Safe Haven Baby Box organization has a 24-hour hotline. Parents can call anonymously and talk to trained professionals about their options. The number is 866-99-BABY-1. Now to the latest on the Supreme Court confirmation hearings. The Senate committee is expected to approve Amy Coney Barrett this week. ABC's Andrew Dimber reports today members of the committee questioned Barrett on several key issues.
Lawmakers getting their first crack at questioning President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, stepping out of the long shadow of her mentor, the late Justice Antonin Scalia.
People say that you're a female Scalia. What would you say?
I said when I accepted the president's nomination that his philosophy is mine too. But I want to be careful to say that if I'm confirmed, you would not be getting Justice Scalia, you would be getting Justice Barrett.
Democrats zeroing in on Barrett on a series of topics. On the Affordable Care Act, which comes before the court a week after the election.
The Democrats claim that you're being put on the Supreme Court so you can vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Is that your agenda?
Absolutely not.
On a woman's right to choose to have an abortion, Barrett in the past had listed a number of cases she believes cannot be challenged. Roe v. Wade was not one of them.
Is Roe a super precedent?
Roe is not a super precedent because calls for its overruling have never ceased, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled. It just means that it doesn't fall on the small handful of cases like Marbury versus Madison and Brown versus the board that no one questions anymore.
On race, perhaps the most charged moment of the hearing came when Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois asked Barrett, the mother of 2 black children, about the fight against social injustices.
Have you seen the George Floyd video?
I have.
What impact did it have on you?
Senator, as you might imagine, given that I have 2 black children, that was very, very personal for my family.
And on the possibility of a contested election.
Will you commit to recusing yourself from any case arising from a dispute in the presidential election results 3 weeks from now?
I would consider it, I certainly hope that all members of the committee have more confidence in my integrity than to think that I would allow myself to be used as a pawn to decide this election for the American people.
Barrett is expected to be approved by the Senate Judiciary Committee on Thursday and then is likely to be confirmed by the full Senate next week before the November election. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, the Capitol.
Thousands of mysterious deaths are under investigation in the southwest part of the country. Birds have been falling out of the sky and dying. Scripps reporter Dan Grossman explains why solving the problem and stopping it is a top priority for biologists.
Among the trees,
90% of birding is by ear.
Allison Holleran lets her senses consume her.
I let my ears guide my eyes, 100%. Just hear that.
Wonder drives her enthusiasm.
There's a goldfinch.
It also drives her concern.
I actually got emails from Texas and New Mexico as well, where they are also seeing larger number of die-offs.
Since the beginning of September, dead birds have been found across Colorado, Texas, Arizona, and especially New Mexico, where the most have been found.
Really strange. Literally birds dropping out of the sky.
Experts like Allison, who heads Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah's National Audubon Society, say the numbers could be in the hundreds of thousands.
Climate change seems to be playing a factor in why this event happened, and it was certainly something went wrong this year.
This is a very strange event.
Travis Duncan is with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. He's been looking into the incident along with teams of biologists from other states and says the die-offs are likely due to several factors, including an early season cold front, drought, and the wildfires raging across several western states.
Heavy smoke from the wildfires may have played a role in creating navigation challenges for the birds.
He says it may have caused the birds' main food source, insects, to die off, forcing these birds to migrate without enough fat and weight to keep them safe once the cold front hit.
This is a web of life, so you pull one little string and the whole rope is going to move.
Right now, it is all conjecture as these teams analyze these birds to make a final determination. But Allison says it's concerning since she sees birds as a barometer for us all.
If birds are doing well, we are going to do well.
I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
If you can, carve out some time to get outside and take a walk tomorrow. 65 by noon, 75 to about 78 across central Indiana. The wind kicks in later in the day. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin, and thank you for making WRTV your choice for news. Have a great evening. Good night.